It's a big day, Commissioner, because this is new times. Not only is it the schedule release, but we have 17 teams to reveal because it's a new era of ACC football. On a day like this, how do you feel? And how does the conference feel knowing that we're turning a new page today?
I'm excited about it. I know our fans are, and appreciate the job the two of you have done on Monday and Tuesday, but everybody really wants to see this entire schedule. What I would say is we had a tremendous year. When I think about 2023, we had 11 teams that were bowl eligible. We had 10 teams finish with winning records. We finished with 4 in the top final CFP poll. We also welcome SMU, who was 11-3 and the AAC champions. They have a great program. They're ranked in the top 25 for next year, at least way too early preseason top 25. You have a Cal program that was bowl eligible for the first time since 2019. Historically, they've had a really good program. And then Stanford is rebuilding, great new coaching staff, et cetera. Had the first year last year, but that's a program, just remember, 30 bowl appearances, 15 Rose Bowl appearances. They have a long and prideful history. And so as you turn the page, Taylor, to your question, to 2024, I mean, I'm just so enthusiastic about what this year is going to be. And no question, when you look at last year, it's the best football that we've played in the ACC in several years. And it starts at the beginning of the year, and you and I, Pac, talk a lot about this, is you really start to set your narrative about how you do in the non-conference. And we started the year fast, and we hope to do the same thing this year with the quality games that we have in the non-conference.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I know that we announced the whole scheduling model back in October. So when folks are dialed in here at 5 o'clock and they're waiting to see what their team's schedule looks like, what do you think we're going to see? Because it is going to be a bit different. And again, the open dates to me are just as important as anything else, where they fall in the big picture.
It is, and a few things for everybody as they look at the schedule. First of all, 68 total conference games, 8 conference games for each of our 17 members. There's 16 protected kind of rivalries, which is really important. I mean, when you think about Virginia Tech, they need to play each other. North Carolina State need to play each other. Florida State, Miami. I mean, those are traditional rivalries that we've had in the conference that we really need to try to protect. No divisions. One single division, right? And the top 2 teams will meet in the first weekend in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium. We have enormous amount of tiebreakers if we get down to the end and we have a couple teams with similar records. The open dates are important in both ways. Not only our current schools going out west and vice versa, our new schools coming east. But you try to balance it out throughout the year. And I would just say this, there's a lot of attention, good or bad, that's placed on the ACC about the schedule, et cetera. And we accept all of it. But in actuality, it's a really collaborative process, Taylor and Pac, where we're talking with athletic directors. We're talking with directors of football operations. We're certainly talking internally. There's facility requests. There's requests about when fall break is, about not playing on home campuses. So it's really an intricate puzzle. And I give our senior associate commissioner, Michael Strickland, an awful lot of credit. He's been doing it for over a decade. He does a phenomenal job. And I would just say probably 75% of the requests that we got from our individual schools, we were able to incorporate into the schedule for 2024. It's one of the highest, I think, ratios we've had. It's never perfect for everybody, but the intent is for it to be balanced and to be fair, equitable, and certainly I think you'll see that when you unveil it here at 5 o'clock.
In terms of travel, because that is one of the big topics people are wondering and talking about when these schedules come out, you touched on it there, is how does this work now? Because we're bi-coastal, we're in the state of Texas. What were the key things that were considered in the room in terms of making it okay and worthwhile and as easy as possible on these teams when they're going cross-country? Because we've already revealed Stanford to Syracuse, Cal to Wake Forest. It's different, but I know a lot of that was considered in terms of the student athletes and the people involved.
It was, Taylor. And prior to the addition of these 3 tremendous schools, we always have looked at travel and impact on student-athlete welfare and health and days of rest and practice time and all the things that are really important, not only to us, but certainly to our coaches and to our student-athletes. And so this year, and I think both of you covered it well, when we brought these 3 new schools in, prior to doing so, we spent an enormous amount of time looking at travel. How would that be for our student athletes of not only football, but all sports? And in the end, you're trying to do the very best that you can. And I think that you'll see it relative to trying not to go consecutively in one direction or another. If you do, then trying to make sure that you have it's followed by a home game. To use those Thursday and Friday games strategically, that maybe the week before is an open date, and then you play on a Thursday, Friday, and then you have 7 or 8 days to get ready for your next opponent. And so maybe travel across the country works better during that time. So I feel very good about it, but we'll learn a lot. I'm sure it won't be perfect for every school in every particular week, but you're juggling that with our partner in ESPN and the ACC network to make sure that, again, we can create incredible content and terrific games. And so I feel very, very good about the work that was put in and the collaborative nature of it amongst all 17 schools in the conference office.
Mish, I'm going to go off the grid a little bit. I know it's going to take 2 hours to go through all 17 schedules with a huddle here at the top of the hour. Are we going to expand the kickoff media days? I mean, we're talking about 17 teams. How are we going to do that? Are you ready to announce that yet, or am I going to hit you upside the head with a fake left go right here?
Listen, that is such a plant job by Amy Acola in our office to have you say that, Pac. We are going to go from 3 days to 4 days, a Monday through Thursday, and I think it's going to be great. I really do. It's such an important time of the year as we tell the stories of the upcoming season. We'll certainly try to get, and we'll get Georgia Tech and Florida State on the front end, usually probably on that Monday, because they'll be ready for their first day of camp shortly thereafter. And it will be terrific. And as you both know, Charlotte does a wonderful job of hosting our football kickoff. We have great stories to tell and certainly great matchups to talk about. So Amy's plant worked, Pac. You set it up perfectly, so I hope I answered appropriately.
Well, let me tell you what, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but Amy and I have not spoken, and I was just going to throw that one on you because I just know how busy the huddle is going to be here at the top of the hour, and I kept thinking about, man, in July, it's always a busy deal anyhow before we threw on the Bay Area and the Metroplex. And I'm thinking, man, well, I'm just going to go ask Commissioner this one. And again, there's breaking news. Forget about, before we get to the first schedule, you can ask Amy. We have not spoken. So don't pretend that we had something
I believe
working
you, Pac.
behind the scenes.
I believe you.
Okay.
You're not on the witness stand anymore, Pac. You're fine.
Well,
I
listen,
get you.
When you see Amy, let me tell you what's going to be funny. You're going to ask Amy, and she's going to say, Commissioner, I swear to God, I have not talked to Pac.
That was not in the email.
No.
But congratulations to Commissioner. That means he's forced to spend 4 days with us in July instead of 3.
Breaking news. That's it. Breaking news right there. By the way, before I let you get out of here, your thoughts on the hoop season so far? The women, 7 teams ranked in the top 25. The men, not as many. But, man, the net numbers are kind of crazy. What do you've done this whole men's basketball committee thing. Crystal ball, what do you think is going to happen here in the second half of the season?
Well, our teams are playing great. I mean, if you're talking about both men's and women's programs, think about how exciting these games have been. And maybe the men's teams aren't ranked as high, but we have incredible teams and student athletes in games that have been played and will be played. And Pac, I would say this, we're doing a little bit of an exercise within the conference office relative to how teams actually fare at the end of the season and how much that affects their play in postseason. And I think for both the men's and women's teams, I don't think there's any question. We have populated the tournaments to various levels, but our teams have gone deep year after year after year. And this cannibalization continues to happen. It's not unique to the ACC. But what I know is our teams are playing their best basketball these last 4 or 5 weeks and into February as we come forward. Maybe on the men's side, we didn't win as many games in November as we wanted, but the women's side of this equation certainly speaks for itself. So a lot still to be determined with 6 weeks of basketball left and a conference championship on both the men's and women's side. But I'm really proud of the ACC basketball I've seen, certainly.
Yeah, it's been good. Listen, I know your schedule's nuts. We're on a tight frame here, too, because we want to make sure we're right on time for 5 o'clock. Tell Amy I said hello. I haven't talked to her in a long time. And we'll go from there, Commish. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate you both. Thanks.
Give me something. Try to shake 'em